Alright, so there's been some talk that the OnePlus 2 does not have optical image stabilization on the camera, when in reality it actually does. So just wanted to confirm that and also give you an idea of what the rear camera 1080p looks like. There's lots of noise out here. Hopefully the microphone's good, and then a lot of movement as well. Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here from KBKing77.com, here to review the OnePlus 2, and this is actually the first OnePlus device I have ever used. This is the 64GB model with 4GB of RAM. It runs you $389 unlocked off contract. I've been using it on T-Mobile's network. But anyways, they market it as a flagship killer, so is it one? Let's go ahead and take a look at it and find out. Alright, so let's first talk about design of the OnePlus 2. And aesthetically, I think this is a very good looking device. In my personal opinion, it's surrounded with an aluminum band right here, which actually gives it a very premium feel. I have noticed the corners are a little sharp, so when I hold it for longer periods of time, it can get a little uncomfortable right here. On the back, there are removable covers, which you can swap out. It comes with a sandstone back, which is a little coarse. However, it provides a lot of grip. Now, up at the top of the device, you have a 3.5mm headphone jack, along with a microphone. Moving over to the right side are where your buttons are. So you have two volume rockers, and below it is the power button. And it did not take me long to get used to the button placement. I had no problems at all differentiating between the volume down and power button. Moving on to the bottom of the device, you'll see two speaker grills. However, you only need one because sound only comes out of the right one, which is a little unfortunate. And honestly, it doesn't sound that great. It's one of my least favorite parts about the phone. It doesn't get very loud, and sound quality is honestly really not that great. You also notice a USB Type-C charging slot, which means you can use the provided cable either way, and it's pretty easy to find and plug in. However, it's still a new technology that hasn't become a standard yet, so you really need to tie yourself to this cable. This cable is actually very important, especially because when you go to a friend's house or a party, you're not going to be able to say, hey, Joe, can I borrow your charging cable? Because they're most likely not going to have a USB Type-C cable. And one more note is that it does not include fast charging either, unfortunately. Now, on the left side of the device, you have what OnePlus is calling an alert slider, and it has a lot of texture to it, as you can see. You can switch between three separate modes. There's a middle switch all the way at the bottom or all the way to the top. To give you an idea of what those are, you'll see in the middle, priority interruptions only. Up at the top, alarms only, and then switching it all the way to the bottom is all notifications. And I really do like this switch. It's pretty convenient, especially when you don't need the screen on to actually switch between modes. And then also I want to make note that I've only about 3 times accidentally switched this to something I don't want when pulling it out of my pocket. So, I mean, it does happen, but very, very seldomly. On the back of the device, you have that 13 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, as I mentioned, and then you have a laser autofocus and LED flash as well. I'll get to the camera in just a bit. Now, removing that sandstone back, which, like I said, is replaceable with different options, which do cost you a little bit more, you have dual SIM card slots. So you just slide this out and you can pop 2 SIM cards in. Now, strangely enough, the OnePlus 2 does not have NFC in it, so if you foresee yourself using Android Pay, which is just starting to roll out a lot, or transferring files via touching the back of your devices, you're not going to be able to do that on the OnePlus 2. On the front of the device, you have an earpiece. Call quality has been fine for me. You have sensors and a front-facing camera. Then down at the bottom, you have 3 capacitive buttons, 2 which light up. It's a pretty neat color. And then you have a middle capacitive button, which acts as a home button, and also a fingerprint scanner as well. Now, honestly, the fingerprint scanner has been great. It has a feature where you can just press and hold on the home button and it unlocks the device. No need to either double tap to wake the screen and do it, or even just press the power button and do it as well. It works really well. As you can see, absolutely no errors in the fingerprint scanner. Let's talk about the 5.5-inch 1080p LCD display on the OnePlus 2, and I've been very happy with it. Whether I'm playing a game, watching a movie, I honestly don't have anything to complain about. It's just an overall solid display, and it's been a very good experience. Now, when it comes to battery life on the OnePlus 2 with that embedded 3,300 milliamp hour battery, it has been good for me. I'm a very heavy user, so I get about 3 hours and 55 minutes screen on time, which gets me just through the end of the day. Standby time's actually pretty good as well. So one thing I want to make note of is with a 1080p display and such a big battery, 3,300 milliamp hours, you would expect it to be better than that, but it's not. But like I said, not too much to complain about. It gets me through the day. Let's talk about that rear 13 megapixel camera. Opening the application's quick. focusing is actually quick with that laser autofocus. Now, what isn't that quick is the shutter speed. So when I go ahead and take a picture, it can take a little bit of time sometimes, especially in low light scenarios. Now, swiping over to the left, you get options such as video mode, where you can shoot in 1080p, 720p, which gives you a slow-mo option as well, and then 4K as well. At the beginning, you saw a 1080p video. Panorama mode, like I said, slow motion, and then a time-lapse mode as well. Now, here's some pictures I took with the rear camera on the OnePlus 2, and overall, the camera is good. It's not quite as good as the G4 or the S6. However, it definitely gets the job done. You can get a little overexposed in bright light areas, but as you can see, I mean, overall, some of these pictures look really great, and I've been overall very pleased with it. All right, so it's time to talk about performance on the device with a Snapdragon 810 processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. A lot of you are asking about overheating issues and just performance issues in general on the OnePlus 2, and I really don't have any. So when it comes to it, games run smoothly. As you can see, graphics look great. And when it comes to overheating, I don't really have any. It gets warm, but that's only when I'm using it heavily, when I'm gaming or doing a lot of various things at the same time, but it's not out of the ordinary at all. So if there's throttling going on in the background, I really don't notice it because I don't get any stuttering in real world performance. I'm going to go ahead and go home. And then, like I said, there's 4 gigabytes of RAM, so it does a good job at RAM management as well. So if I'm going back, if I want to go to Wi-Fi settings, it's going to reload it, but you'll see it loads it up really quickly, and it doesn't kill apps very quickly as well. So it does a really good job at RAM management. Now, with that snappy performance comes a skin called ColorOS, which is over on top of, at the moment, Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, which is the latest at the moment. Hopefully they do keep the device updated on a consistent basis. And ColorOS looks a lot like stock Android. However, there's a lot of tweaks, and a lot of them that I find useful personally. One of those settings being I can rearrange the quick toggles, so press and hold and switch them around just to any way that I want them to be. I've also noticed there's a difference in the pull down bar. So if you pull down from the top right of the screen, it's going to pull down all of your quick settings. However, if you do it on the upper left hand corner, it only pulls down the notifications if you have one, which is nice, but I wish it was flip-flopped. I don't know why, because I'm right-handed, so when I'm using it with right hand, I have to go all the way in the upper left-hand corner to just show those notifications, as opposed to the upper right-hand side when it pulls down those quick settings. Now, within settings, you can actually go to buttons and enable on-screen navigations if you don't want to use those passive buttons. So those get disabled right away once you turn those on, and you can customize those. You can flip them around. You'll see you can swap buttons, so I can have this be a back button or a recent apps button, depending on which one you want to have where. Now, there's also actions that you can have. Double tap action on the home button, long pressing or double tapping the recent or back button as well. You can kind of change those a lot. One of them I do like using is when you press and long press the back button, it opens the last used app. So when I press and hold on it, the camera was the last app I used, and I can quickly switch back and forth between these two apps. It's a really nice feature. Now, there's also gestures that were added in. So double tap to wake, open camera, and toggle flashlight and music control. So let's say, for example, I want to toggle the flashlight, draw a V on that dark screen, and you can do it again to turn it off. It's a really neat feature. And then also you can draw an O to open up that camera application. You also notice settings look a little bit different, and also maybe that app drawer as well. You'll see how dark it is with that dark background, and that's because there's an option for a dark mode. So scroll down, customization, enable system-wide dark theme. I'm going to disable it, and you'll see it goes back to that stock Lollipop white theme with all those white backgrounds. You can change LED notification colors. You can change which LED color does what. Now, when you have dark mode enabled, you can change the accent color. So another way that you can actually customize your operating system. There's also shelf when you swipe over to the left side, which adds frequent apps, frequent contacts, and then you can actually customize certain widgets down at the bottom. You can hit a plus sign, and then you press this, and then you'll see you just have a lot of various widgets that you can add. Personally, I added the Google Now widget down at the bottom. Now, one thing I've noticed about the OnePlus launcher, regardless of if you launch the app from the home screen or with the app drawer, is that there's a slight delay. So when I tap on it, you saw that little slight delay right there. And it doesn't happen on every launcher, so it's not necessarily the phone. I think it's just the launcher. So we'll go to Google Now Launcher, open the exact same app, and you'll see it's just a little bit more responsive. It's not crazy noticeable, but I can notice it personally when I use it. So, I mean, if you like shelf, you might have to deal with that little slight delay when opening apps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, just wanted to recap, give some final thoughts on the OnePlus 2. And no, I don't think it's a flagship killer. To be a flagship killer, you have to be better than current flagships, and this is not better than current flagships. It's actually a little bit worse, which is actually okay because it has a $389 price tag. And for that $389 price tag, it's a very good device. I've been very happy with it. Performance has been great. Display is great. Camera has been good. When it comes down to it, though, if you can deal with not having NFC and just the speaker on the bottom not being that great, it's a good deal, in my opinion. I'm not too sure how well OnePlus is going to keep this device updated when it comes to Android M, etc. Hopefully they do keep it updated. And then if you can get an invite and buy it, then I'd say it's a go. I really do like this device. And that would be the review of the OnePlus 2. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this device if you're going to pick one up, if you can. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. All links in the description of the video. You can subscribe to my channel. That would be fantastic. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day.